Greetings, everyone. So today I'm going to be interviewing not only a good friend, someone that I grew up with, met in high school, joined the Marine Corps together, and now we are in
two kids together.
Exactly, civil servants. But with that being said, I like for David Santiago to, well, I'll just basically introduce him, but introduce yourself, let him know your business in regards to like actual business and combat veteran, how much time you served in the Marine Corps.
What's going on, guys? My name is David Santiago. I am a retired United States Marine Sergeant. I served for 13 years, and I believe all 13 of them we served it together. Yeah, my last 4.5 years, I served as the medical case manager for Wounded Warrior Battalion East. So I had the entire East Coast, essentially just dealing with all the wounded, ill, and injured, and helping them through their MEDBOARD process. Essentially, I was the uniformed PEBLO, which is a physical evaluation board liaison officer for them. I'm medically retired. I currently own my own business now, Scalp Solutions, where I treat men who are suffering from hair loss. So I offer 2 non-surgical solutions for hair loss. One of them is scalp micropigmentation. The other one is cranial prosthesis, which is essentially like a wig or toupee for men. And I still also help veterans with their, kind of like what you do, not at the level that you do it, but, assist, with VA claims and
Yeah,
like
at least through your job, you're
Right,
able
right.
to help out other veterans that are on your job
Right.
with their service connections. Yeah, so throughout this interview, obviously, there's going to be a lot of things that I'm not going to be asking him in regards to what type of service connections he has, due to certain aspects of his job. But the following questions, obviously, it's not going to be in detail, but it's questions that will be able to help out a lot of veterans that are out there that might be in the same positions. Obviously, with David, one of the questions I would like to ask today would be, how did you become service connected? What was the process that you took?
So I was on active duty at Wounded Warrior Battalion East. I was working out of Bethesda, which is now the new Walter Reed. I had 4 surgeries on my feet and calves from they were like slap tears and something with the tendon and my calf muscle. My calf muscle was ripping up, so I had 2 options. I could have extended on active duty to do a med board, or I could have just did the time that I had on contract, gotten out, and then just submitted a VA claim. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to stay on active duty because I knew I was gonna always have access to my doctors. So if anything came up, and having dealt with nothing but medical boards for the last 4.5 years, I knew that things never go smooth.
Yeah.
So I stood on, I did the extension, and I let them put me through the physical evaluation board.
Yeah, I know. I remember just because we were both together, you were asking me to stay on and do the, look into and I just decided, I was enough of it. And at the time I caught my DWI, and it's the funniest situation. Yeah, I was like, you know what, I just rather get out, and I'll pursue any service connections on the outside. at the time of your service, you ended up going through the MedBoard process. Can you explain that process in regards to the rating on the VA DOD type of rating? How does that work?
All right, so when you're on active duty and you go through a medical board, all right, your information gets sent to, it goes all the way up, right? I'm not gonna, but it gets to the DOD, right? The Department of Defense. They review your paperwork, they give you a rating that they deem fit. The DOD then takes that same packet and they send it over to the VA. The VA reviews it and they give you a rating. So when your ratings come back in, the PEBLO, right, the Physical Evaluation Board Liaison Officer calls you up and they sit you down and they tell you, okay, so the DOD is offering you 10% and the VA is offering you 60%. So you see how I said 10% and I went 60% because that was just statistically how it always went down. And DOD always gave a significantly lower rate, and the VA always gave a significantly higher one. So
Yeah, was that to push you out, or?
I don't know what it is behind it, but I would assume it's just that the DOD doesn't want to assume those responsibilities of paying you that every month. So it's kind of like, no, this is what we're gonna give you. All right, so it's like $200 versus the $800 that the VA is proposing. And in my case, those were my numbers. I got 10% and then I got 60%. So you kind of like what the fuck? Like that's a really big difference. You have a chance to appeal, which I immediately appealed. Some people don't, because some people just really want to get out. They're done and they just want to get off of active duty. I tell anyone that I speak to that's on active duty, like, if you do that, you're gonna screw yourself. Like, just suck it up, because in the long term, it's just so much more better for you.
Why is that?
Because if you accept it, it's gonna be harder to fight it when you get out in the civilian world.
Okay, so but why would you? What rating would be best in order to stay on a little bit more to fight it? What benefits it is to stay on more? What would you get?
So, for example, in my case, for me, I knew, right? Again, I was doing this for years, so I knew that I should have gotten at minimum 80 or 90% from the VA. From the DOD, I knew at minimum I should have been offered 50%. So for me, it was important to fight it while I was on active duty, because if the DOD rates me 30% or higher, that 30% may seem low, but guess what? Now I have a retired ID that gives me access onto the bases, all bases around the world, and it now qualifies me to receive TRICARE for the rest of my life for free. Right? You don't pay. So
does that get extended to your family, or it's just you?
It gets extended to my family.
Okay.
So this is information that that they don't tell you. Like, not even my Peblo, who was a Marine, like, he didn't give me advice. Like, it was just like, hey, this is what you got. These are your options. You can accept it or you can appeal it. If you appeal it, you're going to need to provide the paperwork. It wasn't like, hey, man, you should appeal it. Try to get that 30%, because now you're going to have base access. You're going to get your retirement card. And that retirement card, like, you get an official retirement. All right, you're talking about a letter from the president, thank you for your service. I mean, whatever. Like, I really didn't care for that. Now I look at it, I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. But for me, was the ID and the benefits, because who's to say, now when I get out to the civilian sector, if I don't find myself a job that gives me decent benefits, at least I have an opportunity to go to the nearest base and go to the the hospital or BAS and be seen, whether it be me or my family. So that was a big thing for me. Like I didn't care so much about the VA side because I knew when I got to the civilian sector, I was gonna be able to fight that. But if I gave in and I just accepted what the DOD was proposing, I knew I was never gonna be able to fight that again. So I appealed it, and my magic number was 30. I didn't care if they gave me a 40, 50, as long as it was 30 or more, I knew I was gonna accept it.
Now that is the question a lot of guys gave me in regards to like med boarding, VA DOD. Do they get added? Both numbers get added together? No, they don't. It's just separate. It's just okay. So after getting out, why is it that you didn't pursue the 100? I mean, like why didn't you pursue the 100% while you were on active duty? Like
100% from the DOD or from the VA?
VA.
Because when it came back, the DOD gave me 30% and the VA gave me 90%.
Okay.
So I now was at the point where it was like, I want to get the hell out of here. So I was like, you know what? I'm at a good spot. I'm officially going to be retired with 30%. I'm going to have all the benefits. I just became a dad. So I was like, that's going to be great. God forbid, when I go back home, something happens with my current job, or I don't have a job, at least, I'll have benefits for my daughter.
Yeah.
And then I knew the 90% I had for the deal. So I accepted 30% because now I knew I was gonna have my ID, full retirement, and TRICARE, and then the 90% because I knew I had a year to appeal, to fight that. So for me, that was more than enough time. I didn't have why stay on active duty and fight that. And like I said, at the time I just had Kayla, so I just wanted to get home to my family. So that's what I did. I got all my paperwork together and I got out, tired, and accepted my 90%.
So you went and made copies of everything and then got out.
I didn't just so essentially that's what you would want to do, is make copies of all your records. But what I did was, as I was going along, I was keeping copies of everything because I knew that this paperwork was going to be critical to my med board. So I had everything together: surgery notes, doctor's notes, visits, any and everything related to an injury. I had it in chronological order, by doctor, by service, everything prepared to put that, to present it to the VA to justify why I felt, my claim, my rating should be higher.
So after you get out, you decide I want to pursue the 100%. And how did you proceed with that? Did you go with a lawyer? Did you decide to do it on your own, or you got a VSO?
I did it on my own because I already knew all of this. I wasn't gonna pay someone to present my case, because who better know your case than yourself?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that there's not lawyers out there that can't articulate it any better, but again, I was doing this for 4.5 years. I knew the verbiage, I knew everything that I needed to say, how to present it. So I didn't bother going down any of those other avenues. I was like, I'm just gonna do this myself because my paperwork was so tight that I knew I didn't need anyone else's help.